I met Phillip at Dalton State College. It was our summer semester before we ever actually started talking.
We had a couple of classes but never really talked to each other. I kind of admired her from afar, but she really didn't know that.
And my first impression of him, I thought he was cute, but I never really thought I would end up with him. And he talked a lot in class. And
her first impression is what she'll tell you is that I'm a jerk, because she was doing these presentations in class.
Every time I would get up to do a presentation with my group in one of my classes, he would always roll his eyes.
I was not rolling my eyes at her.
And now he says, well, I wasn't rolling my eyes at you.
I was just rolling my eyes because I had to sit there and listen to people.
I remember always telling my friends, like, oh, here we go. He's going to say something to make us look stupid or something.
That's how we first really met, and we really didn't introduce ourselves till we had a class one summer.
That summer class that we had, it was supposed to be his last class period, and it was my last summer class, but I still had to go back the fall.
She kind of sat 2 seats over from me because I knew a mutual friend of hers, Catherine Murray. And Catherine kind of tried to instigate, me wanting to talk to her and asking her. And
we started talking on Facebook chat.
I just always try to pester Catherine a little bit and asking about Brittany, whether she had a boyfriend, whether she didn't. And Catherine told me she did.
And then we ended up being friends for a long time.
We started flirting with each other, and I asked her if she had a boyfriend, and she had never told me before, and we talked a little while, and she told me she did, and I said, I'm going to change that.
And I told him I had a boyfriend, and he said, I don't care, I'll change that. I was just like, whatever.
And that's what I did, was actually change that. And
but he did, he changed it.
Actually, I'd graduated, but still needed to wait to graduate, and I really had no point in going another semester.
He ended up actually going back to school the fall semester, and I couldn't figure out why he was taking classes again.
But I stayed another semester in college just to make sure that I could be with Brittany and try to steal her away from the guy.
But he said it was because he wanted to get to know me more.
And luckily enough, I succeeded at that.
So he went back to school just for me.
We just started talking, and I asked her if she wanted to go to a movie in Dalton, and we wound up going to a movie.
The first time we actually went out together, we went to the movies and we saw Where the Wild Things Were. Or maybe it was Twilight, but it was one of those.
I really forget what the movie was. Maybe it was Where the Wild Things Are. I think that's what we watched, or something along those lines. And that was pretty much our first time going out with each other. And actually, it might have been Captain D's where we ate the first time. Actually, was the first date, I think.
I think we went to Zaxby's or something.
I might be crossing stories here. It's kind of hard to remember because we do so many things together, because she's always wanted to go on the go, and I kind of love that about her. She keeps me going.
I really liked him a lot, and I was really excited to talk to him all the time. I remember he asked me to go on a cruise with him and his parents, and I turned him down, and I still regret that. I should have went, but oh well. Now I'm marrying him, so. A couple of weeks before he actually proposed to me, I remember he told me he was going to go look at a car in Rome with his parents. So we had plans to do something with a couple of friends, and so I ended up just going without him. And I guess that was I think that was whenever he actually went and looked at the ring and bought it.
First of all, I pretty much knew months before that I was going to buy this ring, and I wanted her to be my wife. And it was really nerve-wracking going to the place to get the ring, and I was probably sweating terribly when I was doing it, because it was just so nerve-wracking trying to pick out that perfect ring for her.
I think it took him a couple of weeks before he did, and he kept asking me, like 2 weeks before, he's like, don't plan anything for this weekend, and I thought that was kind of weird then, because he never plans anything. I'm always the one that's having to plan things.
And then basically I waited 2 weeks before and told everybody she knew about me going there and trying to propose to her, and thinking about when I'm going to do it, where I'm going to do it. And then
that Saturday he came over to my house, and he was like, well, let's go have a picnic. And he kept messing with his hands, and just looking at his phone, and he kept smiling for no reason. And I knew he was going to ask me, just because he was acting so weird.
And then I finally decided that I'd take her to this place where I used to rock climb, that's up on Lookout Mound.
So instead of having a picnic, I was already feeling pretty sick then because I was so nervous and knew he was going to ask me. We went to Subway and just ate lunch there, and then He took me somewhere, I believe it was like somewhere out near Mountain Cove Farms. It was like an outlook, and I'm really not even sure how you get there.
And I really can't divulge the location because my climbing buddies would get mad because it's kind of a secret spot. But it was probably the most nerve-wracking day of my life because I was sitting there having the ring in my back pocket, sitting in the car, and I was kind of uncomfortable the whole time going up the mountain. And she's like, "Why are you not saying anything?" I was like, "Oh, nothing, nothing, nothing."
We went walking out through the woods, and then we eventually got to this cliff, this overlook, and that's when I had turned around to look out. I was like, "Oh, this is really pretty." And then I turned back around and he's down on his knees and he's like, "Will you marry me?"
And I finally just dropped down to one knee and I said, "Will you marry me?" And that's pretty much the only thing I can remember what I said because I kind of went blank, and then she just froze there for a second.
And I remember saying, "Oh my goodness, I think I'm gonna be sick."
She just froze there for a second and she started smiling real big and she said,
"Of course."
And I just put the ring on her finger and
I just like looked at the ring forever.
I was real thankful that she didn't pass out because she would have probably fell off of a 200-foot cliff and probably would have died, and I would have lost the ring as well too. So that would have been quite a bad thing. That was for you, Brittany.
And one thing that I'll always remember about that is that the day he proposed to me was on May 21st, and that was the day that the world was supposed to end, but it didn't. We got engaged.